We have an interesting display about a tornado. This check came floating down out of the sky up at Oakland, Nebraska in a tornado from '57, and it came from this house that was destroyed. And that was the Paulette home, and it was southeast of Concordia. And a farmer stepped out of his yard and saw this check come floating down, and he mailed it back to the newspaper office here in Concordia. And this is a tornado from '67, and this was the power line, and that's how it ended up, going through the tornado. And we have several other booklets about different tornadoes or windstorms that have gone through here. But this lady was killed in a tornado in 1896 at Clyde. And when the house was destroyed, this is all they found of it as part of her dressing table. So they wrote on it April 2nd or 25th of 1896. This is our telephone display. Most kids don't have any idea what a telephone booth is for. You have it in your pocket now. But it used to take a lot of equipment to send a telephone message. I was a telephone operator when it was a manual office here, and this is what it looked like. And that's where Dana Brewer's office is today, right across from the post office. And this was the local board. This was the long distance board. You pick up your telephone, a little light would come on, you'd stick your plug in and say, "Number please," and connect it to whoever they wanted. And when we had a long distance call, we had to make a ticket. And you'd stamp the ticket when they start talking, and then you'd stamp it again when they were through so they'd know how much to charge. That one was for 6 minutes. And if you had a payphone, you had to really watch your clock. Because just before 3 minutes, you'd open your key saying, "Your 3 minutes are up, please signal when through." And one girl was real nervous, and she hadn't done it before, and she watched, and when she opened her key, she said, "Your time has come." Up here we have that little white box that replaces all this equipment. But what you have in your pocket now replaces everything. You don't need an operator anymore. These are switchboards. You answer a call and connect it to whoever they wanted, and then you'd flip your key and make it ring. The Weather Bureau used to be on top of the post office, and these were some of the equipment they had up here. That little white box also was up there. But that was the Weather Bureau up on top of the post office. We have a lot of radios. And this is a special one. My dad made that way back in the 1920s. That it was one of the first 2 radios in Cloud County. And the blade office was right across the alley from the power company. My dad worked at the power company, and the blade office was wanting to promote the fights. So they had, the power company had a big speaker, and so my dad hooked his radio up to the speaker and they broadcast fights. Little problem, above the blade office was a dentist office, and he didn't like all that commotion because there were a lot of people there. So he would turn on his x-ray machine, and that would mess up the radio. So my dad lived out by the park. He took the radio out to the house and broadcast it back on the telephone line, and they were able to have their show anyway. Because there were people in the streets, really a lot of people to hear those fights. And we have a lot of telegraph keys. We have a lot of typewriters. Lots of things. In fact, radios used to be a big piece of furniture in your house. after the radio or the weather bureau was moved from the top of the post office, it was out at the airport park, and that tower was for the airport park weather bureau. All these arrowheads and tools were found locally in Cloud County, and all of them up here. Everything was found in Cloud County here. And we have a lot of animals that were, what do you call, taxidermy. And we have some unique fossils here. This is a mammoth cheek tooth. And these are dinosaur neck bones. And this is a bear rug that was a lap robe for a mailman when he had a buggy to deliver the mail. This is a special fossil. Mr. Don Corville found this just last year, and it was near Jamestown, Kansas. And he had verified at Stenberg Museum that it was a palm tree, and it was a 15-million-year-old fossil. This switchboard was from the Galvin-Hoy Clinic that we had one of the largest medical facilities in the state, and it was Dr. Galvin and Dr. Hoy that started that, and these are all the doctors that were there in the 1950s. Here we have a covered wagon. And Bogart's grocery store was started, or this is all memorabilia from it, and then it changed name to Scribner, but this is one of their best yet signs and some of the clothing from it. It is no more.
Cards full.
Cards full?
Yeah.
Do we have any extras?
No. Just through that were loaded up.
Well, we'll just have to go off audio on the camera then. You can keep going.
This is all from the power company. This wind generator was used on farms, and they could charge a battery, and they have enough energy there maybe to run a radio or. And this was, we used to make our own power here in Concordia. And this was the whistle that they would blow every morning, noon, and evening. And my dad worked at the power company. And this is his picture over here. But he said that the man that blew the whistle would walk to work. And as he passed the jewelry store, he would check his watch with the time on the big clock in the window. And then someone asked the jeweler how he set his clock, and he said, with a whistle. This is the little gun that Mr. Krasny swapped that long Japanese rifle for so he could be a policeman, and he went on to become chief of police. This big derrick here is a windmill. Before they poured this concrete floor, they went down 45 foot and found water. So they put in a working pump. But they didn't want to keep emptying it, so they made it drain in the floor drain. Lost part of your crew?
Yeah, they're going to get another card for the audio recorder. So. Yep.
This is our old beauty parlor. Looks like a torture chamber.
Okay, thank you.
And this was Lester's Sweet Shop. We got the original sign there. Lester used to make a lot of candy, and these are some of the candies that he made. And this is a taffy puller, and those are some of the kettles that he used to make candy. This mural on the wall is from 1950, that at the summer playground, they took kids from first grade through sixth grade, and they had a parade uptown, and then they went into Lester's for troops. And we've been able to notify or identify about 30 people. This is what the big counter looked like. It was all marble. It was a beautiful counter. We used to have a broom factory. They grew their own broom corn and took all this equipment to make a broom. And this one still says Bailey Perry, Concordia, Kansas. And this, we had a bank robbery in 1932. Maul Barker's gang robbed the Cloud County Bank. And afterwards, they put bulletproof glass around everything. This is one of the stations, and that picture shows what the bank looked like with bulletproof glass everywhere. They even had spikes at the top and electric wires. And they also taught the clerks to shoot, had a gun at every station, and a shooting range in the basement, and they weren't robbed again. And this is our mortuary. The funeral homes are the ones that used to be in charge of the ambulances. And this was an ambulance, and that was the hat that he wore. This was a carrying basket to take the body to the funeral home. And this is our little store that you could buy everything from cigars to fabric, feed, whatever. Over here we have an iron lung. You don't need those anymore because of polio vaccine. And this is Dr. Hoy up here in this picture showing the modern iron lung, that it's that way instead of this. Just goes over the chest. And here we have an x-ray of a Siamese twin. We don't have any information of who was, how old, or what, but it has a broken arm. This is a tonsillectomy guillotine. You would push it into your tonsils, and you'd pull this back and cut them off. How would you like to get your teeth worked on with a foot-powered drill? Fun, fun. And this is Mr. Kozar's military uniform, that he was a 17-year-old in World War I, and he was also in World War II as a medical doctor. And that's the sign up there that was on his doorway. Are we doing this without any audio?
No, it's gonna be a little
bit.
less quality than the other one, but you'll still have
a
it.
little.
Yeah, we'll have it.
Okay. Well, this is the way letters used to be sorted. They had to memorize the case of how to throw the letters, and they were timed on that. And this is how many were at the post office. In fact, this is my husband up here. He worked there. That's in 1956. This is a field organ during the war. This came, it says Rock Island, but it's the same kind of cart they used here in town to load up the luggage and things from the train as the trains came in. Do you want to go over to the annex?
Sure.
Okay. This is our first fire wagon. This old car you had to crank. This is a 1950 Chevy. I want to go get my jacket over.
All right.
This is our swimming pool, one of our first swimming pools, and that was at the end of Washington Street and Strain at the north edge of Concordia. New modern pools swim with clean water. And those pictures over there actually were from that pool. And he let us copy them and put them there. They also had a top of that pool that this shows they could spin it, pump it up and down, and it would spin. Looks like they all fell off, that one. I want to get my coat, I'll be right back.
That's what happened to Lincoln Phillip.
Yeah.
I did?
Because they had 12 lunch.
Oh.
What do you have? 1 and 12?
Yeah, I got 12.
You really good at it.
Yeah, I was gonna get some food. Yeah, school longer if we go to the annex.
What's that? That's what I say, because we don't get in trouble. We're like, what are you guys doing?
We're doing the museum.
Up there we have the Brown Brands River, and then the Big River Bridge, and under this is the Glasgow. This is the old St. Joe Church. And this is the milk mill. Artist Catherine Nagel really was fascinated with those round bales. She'd never seen them. Clearly the colony of Agmar. And we have a horse there. This represents Minersville. Miners down in the coal mine. This represents orphan train miners. And that's the big tractor. Museum. This represents fireproof bricks that had to make allowance for drying and shrinking and fire engine shrinking. But it came out perfect. When we started here, it went clear to the alley and stopped right where it was supposed to. A lot of sunflowers, sunflowers, and that will help carve a little. And I got to put the centers in the sunflowers as it pounded into meat tenderizer and then make it look like seeds. And they have a lot of butterflies and bugs and so on. If you look closely, you can see there's a butterfly right over here. This is the Pioneer Man, Rocking City. You know, this represents God's friends, the pigs. was, this is a picture of the Barron's Hotel over here. But it was on 5th Street, where Echo Water is today. But it was halfway, we are halfway between Kansas City and Denver. And so a lot of the big performing troops would come and stop in Concordia, have a program, stay at the Barron's Hotel, and then go on to Kansas City or to Denver, back and forth. And we have a lot of automobiles here. This is a Holzman, a 1902 automobile. And it's only one of the oldest ones that's still existing. And over on that wall we have Cloud Ceramics display that they were the ones that made possible our big wall mural, because they donated all the brick for it. Mara Smith, one of the main carver, assistant carver, made this for us, and her home is in Seattle, Washington, but she's carved for 35 years and said this is the best clay she's ever carved. And whenever they've got an easel set up at the Cloud Ceramics for her, and she comes back and carves. She made a big mural for Louisville, Kentucky, one for Charlotte, North Carolina, one for Wichita, and another out in California. But she comes here, carves it, they dry it, they fire it, and ship it off to where it needs to go. And this is the size of the brick compared to a normal brick, and it weighs 26 pounds. We have a little automobile here, and we have an old farm truck. We're trying to raise money to get for new tires for this baby. It's falling apart, so we've got a little donation box here. Hotels used to have barber shops in them and shoe shine places, so we have a barber chair here. And this is the DFW Avenue of Flags. During Memorial Day and Veterans Day, they put up the poles with flags at the cemetery, and they used to put names on the tags. So they were getting so many, they couldn't do that anymore, so they made the memorial board for the names of the veterans that donated their flags. And this little car has a washing machine engine in it. This is the 1950 Jeepster.
Because we've got things going on here, you know, we have coffee, we go to coffee.
This is the 1922 Dodge. And this is Norris Anderson's race car that he set world record in 2009 and 2010 out at the Salt Flat Speed. And this is his outfit.
Well, what's he gonna do when Carl Young goes off to school?
Some of his trophies that he's won.
Okay.
I guess that's about it.
Thank you.